So welcome back to the channel. It's been a few days. I am now 25. Now, first note, may I just say that age is just a number. If you are 18, if you're 25, if you're 40, it doesn't matter. You're never in your prime until you decide you're in your prime. I used to think that once I got past the age of 21, that was it, downhill from there, but actually I've been going up, so you guys do exactly the same. So in today's video, I want to talk about BPD and the fear of the abandonment. If you like the channel, if you like what I'm talking about, feel free to hit the subscribe button, drop a comment down below on any videos that you would like to see, and make sure to smash that like button. So coming back to the website Very Well Mind, I really like this website because it seems to be quite accurate in terms of describing things, and I'll just go straight into it. So the fear of abandonment, to put it in rough terms, is the constant fear of being abandoned. Now that is being abandoned by loved ones, by friends, by family, by anyone, but I find it's most prominent in my relationships with my partner. And I'd like to explain this a little bit to you. The struggle to maintain healthy relationships is very common for people with borderline personality disorder. A common symptom of BPD is the extreme fear of abandonment. This fear can lead to the need for frequent reassurance that abandonment is not imminent. It also creates a drive to go great lengths to try and avoid abandonment and feelings of devastation when someone ends a relationship. So now, just talking about this quickly, the fear of abandonment is so prominent in my relationships, and I'm sure it might be prominent in your relationships. And the biggest issue with it is that constant fear of being abandoned, that need for reassurance, will actually lead to driving away the partner because they feel like they are not showing you what you need, when actually they are showing you what you need, and it's just your need to be constantly fulfilled, in the sense of you are needed, you do have a purpose. What I will say about the fear of abandonment is it is chaotic. It's very chaotic because it comes in cycles. So again, I'll go back to the board here. Cyclical nature. People with BPD may simultaneously fear abandonment and have symptoms that create conflicts with others. For instance, they may display volatile moods, distress intolerance, extremes of anger, and withdrawal and impulsivity. People with BPD often engage in self-sabotaging behaviour such as oversharing, misplaced anger, impulsivity, lashing out at loved ones, and poor self-image, which leads to greater relationship dysfunction. These behaviours within personal relationships often lead to relationship instability and even abandonment, which reinforces the fear. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the display of volatile moods. So someone with BPD is very hyperactive and very hypersensitive to anything that is communicated to them. So say, for example, people with BPD take a lot from body language, take a lot from tone, take a lot from how you are first addressed. So say, for example, if I said, "Hey Tom, could you clean the plate up?" That's an alright way to be addressed. Or if it was, "Tom, could you clean the plate up?" Then instantly that would register with me, this person's frustrated, and it will make me feel guilty and ashamed and remorseful. And because then I think I'm a bad person, that will flare up the fight or flight mechanism, which will then cause further damages because I feel like I'm about to be abandoned because I've done something wrong, which will then make me act in a certain way, which will then cause the other person to share back some of that uncertainty. Now, because of the uncertainty, this can lead to the extremes of anger. Now, like I said, when someone with BPD and the fear of abandonment comes along and that fight or flight mechanism is triggered, most times people with BPD will flight. They will dissociate, they will do their best to get out of a situation. I leave the room because I get anxious and things like that. But when you can't leave and say, for example, you're being told off, or someone is frustrated with you, or they're angry at you, and they try and explain their feelings, sometimes what can happen is, because of that hypersensitivity and that body language and that tone that we have just talked about, people with BPD can take that in the wrong way. and that's what leads to the fight. Now, you might be able to see here, but there's actually 3 dents in the wall, and those were not from the fear of abandonment, but from me just playing a game. I'm a very calm person, but things can it's like a click of a switch, and that's it, you're off, you're angry. Now, when this happens with the fear of abandonment, that's when things start getting rough. Say, for example, a relationship is on the ropes, things have been a bit sticky, you've been spending a lot of time together, maybe too much time together, and you're starting to get a little bit sick of each other, and the cracks are starting to show. If someone was to say, I would like to break up with you, what this reaffirms to the person with BPD is they are worthless, and they are not worth it, and they are completely ashamed of themselves, which is a completely false sense of attitude. It shouldn't be like that, but that's the way it would come across a lot of the time. Now, when that fear of abandonment comes in, speaking from experience, a lot of bad things can happen, especially if you're not aware of the fact that this fight or flight mechanism is kicking in because you are scared of being abandoned because of past memories. It can get quite... If you're unaware of your feelings and you're unaware of how you're acting, then bad things can happen. And I would like you to be aware of your feelings and this fear of abandonment and this fight or flight mechanism, because actually the person with BPD, you who may be watching, you can make a lot of difference in this situation. You may be so desperate for this person's attention, and actually with all the things that you're doing, you're pushing them away. So what you need to do is take a step back, do your breathing exercises, and talk through it try and see it through their eyes. Try and have both sides. It's never your fault, it's because of this I have felt like this. It's not you've made me feel like this, you've done this to me, this is your fault. It's no, because of these actions that you may or may not have done, I have felt like this as an outcome of that. It's not directly your fault, but it's the butterfly effect, it's the knock-on effect. Now, coming back to very well mind, stopping the cycle. The good news is, there are things you can do to try and stop the unhealthy cycle of interpersonal conflict and abandonment. Borderline personality disorder is often treated with a combination of medication and psychotherapy. I've done both. Medication seems to work a treat, but it's not 100%. You still have the bad thoughts, you're just able to disregard them. Psychotherapy, I did it when I was 17. I should redo it again in the future, because I think now that I'm more open-minded, I think it could help. Again, it's the same with you. You need to want the help to be able to get the help. For example, DBT. I've heard a lot of good things about DBT. Dialectical behaviour therapy can teach people a set of skills called interpersonal effectiveness skills. These skills can help people with BPD learn to be more effective in relationships, which can make those relationships stronger and healthier and more likely to last, etc, etc. I'll leave all the other information on here. What I'm actually going to skip down to is supports for partners, because as we all know, people with BPD are not difficult to deal with, but different to deal with. Say, for example, if someone had dementia, they would have to be, the family and the loved ones would have to be trained so that they could deal with a person with dementia. I wish it was the same for BPD, because actually a lot of the time we bounce off other people. Having a good partner to be able to support that, and an understanding partner is so brilliant with the fear of abandonment. Psychotherapy is the primary treatment for people with BPD. Caregivers and partners may also benefit from therapy to help them cope with the challenges of maintaining a healthy relationship with a loved one with BPD. Often, partners unintentionally enable or exacerbate their loved one's BPD symptoms. Like I said, if you don't know about it, you can feed into it without realising. Therapy can help stop this cycle by teaching partners skills to better support their loved one. Strengthen communication. Communication is key to any relationship with BPD. You have to be able to talk, you have to be able to be vulnerable, especially the person with BPD. You have to be very open and willing to talk to your partner about how you are feeling. Without that open line of communication, things are always in the shadows, and those things in the shadows build and they build and they build, and they are what's going to break your relationship. Because remember, with relationships you have to work towards it. You know, love isn't something that will come and it will stay forever, and that's just how it is. No, love is something that you have to actively work towards day in and day out. And if you don't want to work towards it, that's not the person you want to be in love with. Back on track. Being there to provide support to someone coping with borderline personality disorder can be challenging, but it's also key to successful treatment. Awareness of a loved one's fear of abandonment, understanding how that fear contributes to interpersonal relationship conflict, and learning how to provide your loved one emotional validation is a good place to start. Loved ones of people with BPD can help by encouraging improved communication, problem-solving skills, emotional regulation, distress tolerance, mindfulness, and other coping methods. Again, going back to that support, partners of people with BPD have to have emotional intelligence, because that is what people with BPD are built around. All we understand is emotions, and sometimes it feels like the emotions are too much and they come in too strong and too hot. But actually having a partner that's able to understand that these emotions are coming on so strong and they're able to work through you with them, that's the type of partner that I would see myself wanting. Let's take it back a little bit to impulsivity. Impulsivity, again, is something that is so prominent in BPD. It's prominent in BPD as a whole, and it's prominent in the fear of abandonment. What I will say is people with BPD often think before they do, and this can lead you down the wrong path. You can do some things that you may be guilty or remorseful of. You know, because of my impulsivity and the fear of abandonment, I have been but I felt like I had been driven to do things that I still hold to this day in my heart as dreadful. And there does come a bad side of BPD when it's not looked after. If you are the person with BPD, research it, look into what BPD is, what are the key things that will happen to you, and take note of them. Be aware of when they happen. So when this impulsivity comes across, when this fear of abandonment comes across, when the emptiness comes in, when the intrusive thoughts, with the suicidal thoughts, with the self-harming behaviour, when any of that stuff comes along, take note of it. Now, I'm not saying that if you do it, it is wrong. There are ways around tackling these sorts of things. Be aware of it. Talk to your partner, talk to your family, talk to your loved ones. Be open, be vulnerable. It will help. It has helped me so much, being able to talk about how I feel and being proud of being sad, being proud of being empathetic, being proud of being sensitive, being proud of being who I am and being the person who I am. Being who I am in front of you guys, in front of my friends, in front of my family and my loved ones. The amount that it's helped me is just... I mean, you can see it from the video 6 months ago to this video now. You can see the progress, and that is because I am being who I am. I am being the sensitive, vulnerable person. I am open and willing to talk about how I feel, what I've done, and because of that, I feel like I'm getting better. So what I will say to you guys is, if any of these things pop up, you know, if you're scared of being abandoned, if your favourite person, you fear that they're leaving you, or you fear that they're losing feelings for you, let them know, and let them know not in an attacking way, but let them know in a this is currently happening to me. You're not the reason, but because of some of the actions that have happened, naturally this is happening, and be able to talk about that. Push yourself. Pressure makes diamonds. Putting yourself in those uncomfortable positions will make you a better version of yourself. Accept the fact that you fear abandonment. I still fear abandonment. I dream about it 5 out of 7 nights a week. I still have moments where I'm like, oh my God, does my girlfriend love me? Does she not love me? Do my friends like me? Do they not like me? Is everybody in my family going to detest me if I start doing this or that? They're natural feelings, but what you have to remember is your mental health can never affect your physical health. They are two separate things. So although your mental health may be poor, it can never cause you any physical damage. It can never cause you any harm. It's you that has to act upon it to cause yourself that harm. So don't do that. You're worth so much more than that. and your life is worth living. Your life is definitely worth living. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be doing a happy one next time, I reckon. Nice little happy video. And I'm also going to get some fitness stuff in there, because I find that fitness really helps my mental attitude, and maybe it can help yours. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Make sure to drop a like, hit the comment button, tell me what you'd like to see, and make sure to subscribe. I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta!